Good morning. Hand today's pocket sevens. So we have under the gun, open raises is 2.2, rather small open raise, and we get villain 7 that calls. I have some pre-flop information on what those raise sizes are. I have 855. I don't want to skew what my range perception is of this player. So what we'll do is we'll say this is, we've played with him. This count comes in as a raise size. Seems strange. So what could he have? He could be doing this because he is under the gun and is going to be playing a tighter range, and he knows that it's going to be hard to get people to fold. So he raises a little bit smaller than what he typically would do. His raise first in sets 18% from early position. His limp first in is 2%, 3 out of 141 hands. Not sure why he would limp. So what we need to do is build a range that kind of reflects that 18%. I think we're going to have to include all of the suited aces. Maybe even those broadways. So offsuit broadways, although it's less common to see people raise with king jack, queen jack off. Let's not do that. Let's do that instead. Let's give them the one gappers. Even though again, suited one gappers for under the gun just seems, a little too much. Maybe it'd be better if we do like aces, ace 10, ace 9, ace 10, and maybe like queen jack. That maybe. King 9, queen 9. I think we're just going to leave it like that. 17%. We're a percentage short, but I think that's probably a better range, stronger range for him. Yeah, I think we can discount aces and kings a little bit, and also probably queens plus ace king. I just don't think I don't think he would raise it that small. We'll say 50%. I don't think he would raise it 2.2. Maybe even ace queen suited. I think he would have raised larger. I think jacks can also be included in there. All right, so what about this player? This player calls. He's playing 35-10 over 70 hands, or almost 70 hands. Pre-flop, cold calls 50%. His 3-bet, we're not going to see a whole lot about his 3-bet stats for position. His 3-bet by position overall, it's 3 out of 26 hands. He's 3-bet, so I think he's probably going to be playing speculative hands. We're going to give him all the suited aces. I think we're going to get rid of kings plus ace king. I think we're going to give him something maybe along these lines. Maybe not even give him the gappers. Yeah, that's probably okay. And now it's on us. We're dealing with an early position raiser and a caller. Could we 3-bet? Yeah, I think if we 3-bet, he's going to be folding. He has folded about 50% of the time, so when he's opened, it works as a squeeze. He's already demonstrated some weakness because he's just called. I think slight problem with this is that we are out of position. So if we're going to be 3-betting, we're going to need to be doing it with hands that can play out of position fairly well. So this is my typical 3-betting range here. We might be able to expand it a little bit. So if this was my 3-betting range, I think maybe ace queen off, or maybe ace queen suited. that is a kind of a stronger hand, we could be playing it out of position a little bit better. Maybe adding in ace three, ace two. I think jacks maybe. We could throw in as a three bet, as a squeeze. Is there any like of these suited connectors? I mean, you could always try. You can always see what happens. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this. This is my calling range versus an early position player. I'm not going to adjust it because we have a limper, although we could. We could say, look, once we have a limper, we can kind of tighten up, maybe get rid of the king jack, the ace jack off. We sacrifice some EV with that, but I think that's okay to avoid playing out of position for the entire hand. So that's going to be my calling range, and I did call, so we're going to get this range going. This is about 8%. We have 106 combos in a range, and this is the 3rd of December. Didn't get that going. All right, so we see Jack 10-3 with 2 diamonds. What do we do? He has initiative. He has a monster stack. What could we do? I'm not sure if I would bet here. Definitely, I think he has some hands that connect with it. Hands that will be calling. So I think if we lead, we shouldn't be surprised if we face a raise. His C bet's only about 50 to 60%, even when he is out of position. 58 when he's out of position. 53 when he's in position. I think he's going to be somewhat tight. I'm not going to be surprised if I bet and get called, and then we're going to be playing out of position. Whereas, and if we bet and raise, then we might have to commit with some of our hands. What is this? The raise. Raise a donk is 25%, 3 out of 12. So I wouldn't be surprised if we lead if we get raised. So the question would be, what hands could we have led? Maybe the set we could lead. Maybe let's say king queen of diamonds, ace queen of diamonds we could lead. Maybe 9-10 of diamonds we could lead. Those are the solid diamond straight. The flush and the straight draws. But I think those could probably do a little bit better by playing like as a check raise. So check raising the set, check raising 2 pair, and that gets balanced by these flush draws and open-ended straight draws. So I believe we should probably check and either check call or check raise. This here, check call, check fold, check raise. I'm okay with just check folding, even if we had, a 3 or an 8. Just we're okay with that. So we check. Villain 6 checks, which I'm gonna say with him c betting 50% of the time, or a little more than 50% of the time, I think that's going to be okay. I think he would have c bet sets. I think he would have c bet 2 pair and over pair. I would like to think he would have c bet his top pair hands, queen jack, king jack. But he may be checking here for some pot control because he recognizes that this does hit calling ranges a bit more. So I could see him kind of checking. If he has a queen, he blocks, king queen type hands. So I think kind of an overpair. I think the least overpair, I wouldn't expect aces to check here. I think kings and queens can check because now you blocked, king queen that would have called, with an open-ended straight draw. And even if someone has 8-9, if he has queens, then you block that straight. You have 2 of the outs right there. So I'm gonna say I think he could check with an overpair with kings and queens. I think top pair, I think he could probably check all of his top pairs, like ace jack. you're not too worried. Only king and a queen's going to beat you, so I think you can check and hopefully get, a caller, someone to call with, a 10, on the turn. The board is wet, so I don't think you want to check everything. I do think you want to challenge people, and I think you're going to check your middle pair. So all of these. Now, what about his draws? I think he could have bet his draws. So I think I'm going to take those draws out. And I think even his flush draw and his open-ended straight draws, I think we're going to have to take those out. Because I think he would bet those. What about his gut shots? I think the gut shots, I'm going to leave those in as possibly calling here. So I have him checking 74.2. That may be a little bit too much. We'll see what we do. So now it's on villain 7. He also checks. So now that once everyone else checks, I do think he would have bet his sets in 2 pairs. I think his over pairs would have been betting. I think his top pairs would have bet. I think his middle pairs would have bet. Pocket pair below the second card, probably check. I'm going to have all of those. I also think his flush draws would have bet. Well, he's a little bit more on the passive side. So let's include his flush draws, open and straight draws. It's all of those that would have called. And let's just X those. And we checked 100% of our range. So our flop range still, we checked 100%. We've got 91 combos. Turn cards a 10 of diamonds. That was not a very favorable card for us. But no one's really showed any strengths. So, definitely, I think at this point we could possibly lead. I think if we lead, we're going to be getting called by straights and flushes, and we're going to be getting called a lot. So I'm not sure if we should really even bet here without having, I think quads we can bet, full house we can bet. I think the flush we can bet. I would expect to bet those, and we're betting those for values, and that means then I think we would be betting our nut flush draw and probably our second nut flush draw as well, because I think with the second nut we can bet, and if the diamond doesn't get there, we can bet again as part of our bluff. I'm not sure if we would do third nut, so ace queen king queen. But I think we're going to get those second and third, get those out of our ranges. All right, so what do? I checked. So yeah, I think we've got, we've got some of these open enders that are there. We've got our gut shots. We've got straight, we've got possibility, 3 of a kind. And I think with 3 of a kind, we're hoping someone bets so we can call, and then we'll evaluate on the river. I don't think we should be betting with 3 of a kind, because if we bet and we get raised, I think we're going to have to give it up. And we're going to have these pocket pairs, no made hands, that sort of thing. So we're going to be checking 80.7 at this point. That's 80.7% of our range. We've got 71 combos in it. Villain 6 now bets. It was 7 big blinds. He checked and now he bet. And I think now he's going to be betting his top pairs over pair 3 of a kind. Try to gauge where he's at. I think kind of makes sense for him to bet those because, again, the lone diamond's going to call. And might as well he can get some value from those hands now, whereas if he checks again and the river doesn't bring a diamond, he's not getting any more value. So I think 3 of a kind could bet, over pair's going to bet, top pair's going to bet. I don't think pocket pair below the second card's really going to bet. I think the nut flush could bet. I think the second nut could bet. I don't think the third nut or the gut shot. So I'm going to say that's his betting range. And villain 7 fold, so he's probably in this no made hand category. And now it's on us. What do we do? So we checked. He bet. So percent of previous range, 33.6% heat now has 44 combos. So we will have to revise this. So we went from 80.7, and now I think we're going to still be calling these. Get that back. I think those are the hands where we would check call. Whoops, hold on. That's on us. I think we're going to check fold the no made hands. I think we're going to be check calling top pair, 3 of a kind, open-ended straighters. I think those are going to be the hands that we check call. So yeah, let's get this. Let's update it. So we went from 80.7 down to 33%. So we're folding a little more than 50% of the time. We got 29 combos in a range. We do have draws, and I called. Is there ever a check raise? Maybe 3 of a kind we could check raise along with the open and straight draw, but he bets small that it's a little worrisome. Maybe he has the ace of diamonds or the diamond flush. So eight of spades gets there. My equity is 21.1 and his is 78.9. And now, could we get him to fold anything? Maybe. I think he has ace high, but depending on the size and his stack size, he may just call to see if I'm bluffing. So I think we check 100%. Villain 6 checks, so I think he's going to be checking everything that he has here. So I show 7s, he shows 6s. Did he have 6s? No, I actually know that we did not. Pocket pair below the second card was in his range. I guess knowing that he's capable of betting that, now when we get to that 8 of spades, the question is, if we bet, could he fold? And maybe he does fold. But what hands do we fold? King queen busted straight, we could bluff at, maybe. But that's, let's add these. We have showdown value with top pair, so it would be basically like 3 of a kind. I think we'd have way too many bluffs. So overall, I think this hand's okay. I don't really notice anything different. I think the hands that we played, the 7s, is in our range at the end. Is it? It's not. It's not. So I think here on the turn is when I called. I think that's where I called. I think it was mistaken call, but putting this information on the player, knowing that he's capable of that, I still don't know. I mean, you have to assume he has 6s and 5s. Only 5s and 6s beat us, so we can see King Jack. He does 2.2 from early position with King Jack. Yeah, I think we expand his range a little bit. All right, well, if you like this hand, look tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a better hand to look at.